We're talking about bridging, and you should see the previous video, yesterday's video, because it's really good, I promise you. We have a new program out on CEQUENTIA.com. It's all about classical sequences, those basic sequences that form Western music. So you're very welcome to go check that out. But stay with me for just a second here, because we're going to talk about the second principle of bridging, and that's an essential core principle in the power league philosophy that I came up with in order to understand what goes on when the top players are playing with total freedom, can end and begin runs, can play solos that last forever without running out of ideas. All of these things, they do certain things that intermediate people never get, as long as they stay intermediate anyway. So this is the key to getting to that last category of total freedom. So the next way of applying the bridging concept, or the concept of the bridge, is in soloing. That, we often just begin soloing. We just play stuff, right? Now it's the time. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's the solo. All right, and then we just start firing off licks or trying to come up with ideas. But we can really, we're very nervous when we go on stage because we know we have to improvise something, and that seems like a daunting task because it's just a blank canvas, right, to us. And we can just put anything on it, and we have some pencils and some colors, and that's too much freedom, basically, when we solo. You need to have a certain amount of freedom for yourself. But we always do that, right? We don't use all 12 notes on the fretboard when we solo. If you did that, then it's totally right. Right? You don't know, you have all the freedom in the world, and then what comes out is not very entertaining, perhaps, depending on what music style you like. But so we need constraints. We need to have a certain amount of freedom, and bridging really does that for you. So here's a simple way, and I really urge you to practice this because it's so effective. Instead of just having total freedom, create a bridge. And a bridge is basically, in a physical bridge is something that brings you from one place to another, over some water, whatever, gap, right? So it makes you get there. And the same thing goes here. And the bridge is something you come back to because that's what brings you to the next thing. And in this case, you actually go from land over the bridge, and then to land, and then over the bridge again, and then to go back and forth all the time. But your bridge is kind of your safe zone. It's the only place you enter. You could be walking through the water at every point, right? But you limit yourself and say, this is the place. This is the place where it's easiest. This is my bridge. And the bridge in soloing is simply a simple thing that you're absolutely certain that you can return to and get right. Right? If you have that core holding point or that, safe zone, then you can mess around with everything else and it's going to sound together. It's going to sound like you know what you're doing. Let me just give you an example here. I just actually played something in the beginning. You could just go. This also constitutes an amazing soloing exercise if you have a hard time really getting your soloing together. But so that's my bridge. I just play something simple. It could be anything. It could be right? As long as it fits the music, right? So let's just take this. So I practice doing this, right? So it's easy. Right? And I play it so I really like the sound of it. And then I can put different stuff in between. So I go and when you're practicing this, it's a good idea to really keep it simple in the beginning. And if you do, then just focus on getting the simple to sound really cool. And then you can build the complexity and slow things down a little bit and then speed it up again. So let's try this. That's my bridge, right? And in the beginning, you want to focus on playing the same thing over and over again until you got it down, right? So, a little. And if you stumble, you don't know how to get into your bridge again, you slow down a little bit. You investigate. What did I want to play? Right? And then you speed up again. Okay, then I want to use the same rhythm, ba-da-da, ba-ba-ba, right? Just those two notes and replace them with something else. That was another rhythm, right? So let's just take that. And maybe I couldn't fit that in. So then you investigate it. You slow down and say ba da 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 ba ba da loo. That's ba da 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 ba da loo da da ba. Okay. Right? And you keep that going over and over again. It's an amazing soloing exercise. It's going to transform what you do completely. So once you get really good at this, you can do it just on the fly. You just pick a thing and then you... How can I do this? How do I know how to do this? Because I just did this very slowly. And all the rhythms I'm playing in between, I played those before. So every element of this I practiced, but I'm just putting it together in a new way, intuitively, which is what you can do. Anyone can do this. But you have to take it slow. You have to pick your bridge and then go in and out of it, try to add to it and try to play something at an increasingly more complex level in between, right? Let's do another bridge. Let's go. Let's just take that. That's my bridge. And in the beginning, you can't play anything as complex as this. You have to go. Right? You have to really pick your thing. But I promise you, if you're willing to play something very simple and then build on that gradually and then slow down when you reach your highest level of complexity, and slow down and go, okay. And really figure out the rhythm of it and you focus on it intensely and you don't give up, then I promise you, you will absolutely build the ability to use that bridge. And then in the future, you won't be playing the same freaking bridge all the time. You'll actually start creating bridges as you play, which is what makes up your whole improvisation and makes it together. You know, so you go. This is actually a rhythmical bridge. I just a ba da 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 boo sa da da flow ba da da. Ba-da-da. Right? So that bridge becomes, whether it's a rhythm, whether it's a lick with actual notes, or whether you change the notes, it becomes a habit inside of you that simply binds everything together. And if you are willing to practice this slow enough and then speed up, come up with a new idea, practice playing the idea over and over again with your bridge, as I just showed you, and then come up with a new idea, practice it until it's easy with your bridge, and keep the complexity so low that you can actually get results in a few minutes. You know, play something that you can actually play, and then bring it to the confidence level of easy. Then pick another thing, maybe a tiny bit more complex or challenging. Then bring that up, and you don't make it too hard on yourself. Then you have yourself a practice routine that's going to change your soloing and the confidence and just the togetherness of what you play. You're going to sound like a pro in no time if you really focus on this and you have the willingness to be very, it really takes resources. It's exhausting to do this because you have to focus in the beginning. But that's how you get to the point where it's easy for the brain to say, okay, let me come up with a bridge. It actually does it without you thinking about it because it makes so much musical sense. You hear that? It just, brings everything together. And it's so simple. It's just one thing in the middle. And then you can even change that one bridge gradually when you play, and that happens automatically once you start practicing this over and over and over again. Do it. It will, mean a huge change in your playing. And it's one of those key insights, key practice methods that bring you all the way to mastery, to that expert level that we want to get to.